This is a Jersey herd, with an average production of 22 to 23 liters per cow throughout the year. We estimate approximately 50 cows with an average production of 22 liters, which totals around 1,100 to 1,200 liters per day.
The cows consume about 85 kilograms of fresh forage per day.
The farm covers between 9 and 10 hectares, and the milking parlor is very well located, practically at the center of the property.
The cows should be milked while receiving concentrate, as this serves as additional stimulation for them to walk to the milking parlor.
The next planned step is to stabilize the system to increase production.
Welcome to our Santa Fe channel in English. I'm here in Colombia with May at La Fontana Farm, where we work with Jersey cattle and also pigs. In this video, I will show you how we manage operations, reproduction, costs, and much more. Enjoy the video.
Today we are at La Fontana Farm, owned by AgroRV Ganaderia. This is a farm composed of approximately 95% Jersey cattle. There are about 50 cows in production. We are located in Santa Rosa de Osos, Antioquia. It is a Jersey herd with an average production of 22 to 23 liters per cow throughout the year. Currently, we have average fat levels of 4.2% and protein levels of 3.6% to 3.7% throughout the year. This is a fully pasture-based farm, managed with 2 daily milkings, using a traditional system with a milking parlor. The first milking is performed at around 4 a.m., and the second in the afternoon at around 2 p.m. The pasture offered daily is known here as day paddock. We aim to manage the cows by offering more than 80 to 90 kilograms of fresh forage per day. In the milking parlor, the cows receive their concentrate diet. On average, 6 kilograms per animal per day are provided, divided into 3 kilograms in the morning and 3 kilograms in the afternoon. Naturally, depending on days in milk or production peaks, some cows receive more concentrate than others, always respecting a maximum limit of 12 kilograms of concentrate per day. We do not provide more than 12 kilograms of concentrate per day. Reproductive management on this farm is conducted with 2 monthly checks, using ultrasound, synchronization protocols with devices, and the OV-Sync method. We use heat detection patches. This is a farm that is currently focused on increasing the number of purebred animals. We are implementing processes such as follicular aspiration and embryo transfer, always aiming to develop a predominantly Jersey herd, as the price paid per liter of milk for this breed is significantly higher than that of Holstein cows. This is a farm of approximately 10 hectares. We estimate 50 cows with an average production of 22 liters per cow, which represents approximately 1,100 to 1,200 liters per day. This gives us, for the 10 hectares, an annual production of about 40,000 liters per hectare. This is roughly the current outcome of this farm. There is a project to build a barn with the goal of providing additional supplementation and slightly increasing the stocking density, aiming to raise the number of liters produced per hectare per year. Today, the farm receives, on average, 2,300 to 2,400 Colombian pesos per liter of milk, with a production cost of approximately 1,400 pesos. This is equivalent to about $0.60 per liter of milk sold, and between 0.35 to 0.38 cents in production costs. Taking all costs into account, the operation relies on just one employee responsible for milking the 50 cows, performing all tasks in the paddocks, applying fertilizers, and additionally managing 500 pigs in the finishing process. The pig manure, known here as porquinaza, is used to fertilize the paddocks in a rotation system of approximately 30 days. This farm fertilizes its paddocks with granulated chemical fertilizer combined with pig manure. Currently, the cost of a bag of chemical fertilizer ranges between 120,000 and 130,000 pesos, which is equivalent to approximately $30 to $35. With the support of pig manure, we managed to save about $200 per month for every group of 100 pigs. Normally, the farm would need 50 to 55 bags of fertilizer per month, but today it uses only 35 bags, supplementing the rest with organic waste from pig farming. This system also represents an additional source of income for the producer, who sells the finished pigs and utilizes the organic material to fertilize the paddocks. We observe withdrawal periods to prevent cows from entering freshly fertilized areas, ensuring the pasture is used at its optimal moment, both in compositional quality and in the quantity of fresh forage offered to the cows.
Well, here at La Fontana Farm, owned by AgroRebe, we operate a pasture-based system. Our goal is to produce the highest amount of milk possible based on pasture. To achieve this, we aim to harvest the pasture at its optimal growth stage, which we consider to be around 30 centimeters in height above the soil surface. This is the foundation of our system, producing, depending on the time of year, approximately 10 to 12 liters of milk exclusively from pasture. The remainder is supplemented. The concentrate is custom formulated for these cows and the nutritional challenges that Jersey cows present. They have a faster metabolism and higher solids production. Since the system needs to be sustainable and promote animal health, the formulation must be very rich in minerals. Due to the use of pig manure, which has a high potassium content, the biggest challenge for this farm today is increasing magnesium supplementation. As discussed in some classes with Professor Bill Weiss, he mentioned that magnesium requirements can increase by about 250% when potassium levels are between 3.5% and 4%. Here, in our pastures, potassium levels are around 6%, making mineral correction essential for these animals. Regarding macronutrients, we aim for a very precise balance of metabolizable protein. Here, we do not formulate based on crude protein because we have Kikuyu grass, which already has a high protein content. However, it is a highly soluble protein. For this reason, we meet the need for rumen undegradable protein mainly through the concentrate. In terms of energy, the concentrate is formulated with a high corn base, including extruded corn. Additionally, we provide supplementary rumen-protected fat, with a profile based primarily on palmitic acid. We are located in Santa Rosa de Osos, a municipality in northern Antioquia, one of Colombia's main dairy regions. Authorities estimate that the Antioquia department produces between 5.5 million and 6 million liters of milk per day. In the northern Antioquia dairy region, which includes the municipalities of San Pedro de los Milagros, Santa Rosa de Osos, Dolmatias, San José de la Montaña, and Entre Rios, the estimated daily production is approximately 2.5 to 3 million liters. The general average is 16 to 17 liters per cow in a system that is 98% pasture-based. The compost barn and free stall systems are beginning to emerge, but are still relatively new. The predominant system is pasture-based, where most producers are small-scale, with herds ranging from 30 to 60 cows. Milk is mainly collected by 4 major companies. This economy is largely rural, but it is undergoing a process of professionalization, starting from the pasture-based system built on Kikuyu grass. We observe that when the pasture is harvested at its optimal point, cows feed exclusively on the leaves without needing to move around. When they find what they want to eat, they stay in the same spot for 2 to 3 minutes without moving. This reflects positively on productivity and prevents overgrazing, as cows consume only the leaf layer between 10 and 15 centimeters, leaving reserves for the next grazing. This property started with the support of Mr. Ruben, one of the owners, and his daughter Manuela. The structure was developed based on rotational grazing, organizing the paddocks into a day paddock system. Each cow receives an average of 80 to 85 kilograms of fresh forage per day, leveraging the competitive advantage of the pasture-based system, which allows for cost-effective dry matter harvesting. When the pasture is consumed at the right time, cows spend less time feeding and more time ruminating, which improves forage digestibility. The paddocks were planned and recalculated through sampling and measurements to ensure that the cows consume 85 kilograms of fresh forage per day. This pasture, depending on the season, has a dry matter content ranging between 13% and 17%, with variations throughout the year. During periods of scarcity, we recalculate and supplement the missing kilograms of dry matter with corn silage, always prioritizing the maximum supply of fresh forage. We have been constantly seeking learning and updates, applying new concepts in nutrition, especially for heifers, transition cows, and across all lactation cycles. These updates combine theory and practice, including exercises and assessments. We strongly recommend these practices and concepts to our network of nutritionists and friends, because we believe they offer clear and updated alternatives for continuous education, allowing us to remain constantly updated and equipped with practical knowledge for our system.
In northern Antioquia, where all systems are pasture-based, pasture is obviously the most important resource. It provides about 70% of the total energy required by the cow, covering almost all the energy needed for maintenance and still providing additional energy for producing 10 to 12 liters of milk per day. Therefore, proper management of this resource is vital and fundamental to ensuring the profitability of the business. It is necessary to consider harvesting times, which are not always the same. Depending on sunlight availability, pasture needs to be harvested every 20 to 30 days, although it is more important to use the height as a guide for harvesting. It is also essential to pay attention to pest incidents. When attacks occur, such as those caused by leafhoppers, sucking insects, protein and fiber quality decreases. These attacks can lead to a drop in production of 2 to 3 liters per day. Thus, proper pasture management is a critical factor for achieving optimal profitability in pasture-based systems. Regarding leaves, we observe that after the growth of the first 5 main leaves, the oldest one begins to die as new leaves emerge. This usually happens when the pasture reaches a height of 30 to 35 centimeters. If the harvest time is exceeded, the stem begins to thicken, reducing the leaf-to-stem ratio. Since the primary nutrition is concentrated in the leaves, we must closely monitor height and harvest timing to ensure that the cows consume the most nutritious part of the pasture. La Fontana Farm covers between 9 and 10 hectares, and the milking parlor is located almost at the center of the property, which facilitates logistics. The pathways are made of concrete, reducing the impact on the cows. The routes to the farthest paddocks are short, which lowers costs and reduces the need for road maintenance. In this specific case, the investment in concrete pathways is more advantageous than the use of plastic, as the latter incurs higher maintenance costs. Additionally, the integration between dairy production and pig farming creates a profitable association. Why? Because in dairy farming, fertilization costs can represent 12% to 15% of operating expenses. However, when integrated with pig farming, this cost can be reduced to 5% or even eliminated, thanks to the use of pig manure as fertilizer. This combination can increase the profitability of the dairy business by up to 10% or more and diversify the operation. Thus, when milk prices are low, pig farming can compensate, and vice versa. At La Fontana Farm, we also have a concentrate distribution system. It is not stored in bulk, but in 40-kilogram bags. The employee in charge empties the required bags for the day, and the system, through an auger, distributes the concentrate feed into the feeders in the milking parlor.
In livestock farming, we use management software that helps us control all production, reproduction, and feeding data according to the specific requirements of each animal. With this tool, we schedule the feed provided during the 2 daily milkings, and the system automatically recalculates quantities based on milk production or the nutritional expectations we set. This software allows us to store and analyze detailed records, monitoring process progress daily. Having precise information is a fundamental part of specialized systems, as it facilitates continuous development. The software records a wide range of information daily. For example, it stores customized reports and the history of each animal. For a specific animal, the system indicates that its last milk production was 21.19 liters, with milk electrical conductivity within the normal range and no abnormalities. It also reports that the daily concentrate intake is 4 kilograms and confirms that this amount was effectively consumed. The report shows that this animal has already produced a total of 7,109 liters during lactation over 295 days, and forecasts its next calving for April 20th, 2025, with a drying off date scheduled for February 20th, 2025. Additionally, the software also records veterinary findings related to health and reproduction. The protocols defined by veterinarians are documented, including the moment the animal was inseminated or became pregnant, cases of embryonic resorption, if any occurred, identification of the bull used for insemination, genealogical analyses. The system also allows monitoring of daily production graphs and evaluation of other aspects, such as inclusion in somatotropin protocols. It is a tool with a large volume of data that can be specified and analyzed to make strategic decisions and optimize production.
These systems also allow us to conduct constant evaluations. We make it a habit, after reproductive checks or at regular intervals, to meet and analyze performance data. This analysis is done together with the owner, the assistant technician, and myself, who is responsible for reproduction. What indicators do we analyze? On average, we maintain a calving to first service interval of 60 to 65 days, achieving very satisfactory pregnancy rates. We always aim to keep this rate above 20%. We monitor reproductive cycles, varying at 30%, 40%, 30%, and 23%, and we organize management strategies based on these results. This farm requires approximately 4 to 5 pregnancies per month. We set a goal of a 90% annual birth rate. Based on this objective, we divide the required calvings for each period, considering the number of inseminations and pregnancies we need to achieve monthly. We also analyze pregnancy rates in 21-day cycles and track the percentage of pregnancies at first insemination. This first service is extremely important because, as Jersey cows are smaller in size, we aim for quicker pregnancies to avoid prolonged lactations. Jersey cows are excellent producers of milk solids, but we know that in terms of milk volume, they may be slightly below Holstein cows. For this reason, we prioritize achieving pregnancies at the first insemination, ideally above 45%, to ensure reproductive efficiency and prevent excessively long lactations.
Good afternoon. My name is Ruben Betancourt, and I am the owner of La Fontana Farm, located in Santa Rosa de Osos. We work with a high-production Jersey herd and are supported by Simon Gonzalez, Kirubin, and my daughter Manuela, who is a veterinarian. Currently, we have 52 animals in production, with an average of approximately 20 liters per cow. This milking parlor was installed 4 years ago, shortly after the pandemic. Our next plan is to build a housing structure to increase milk production. We are evaluating options, considering whether it will be a fully housed system or a semi-housed system.
In Colombia, cows need to be milked while receiving concentrate, as this serves as additional motivation for them to walk to the milking parlor. They come to the parlor seeking the concentrate feed. Here, the distribution of concentrate is carried out through automatic feeding systems, with the feed provided in pellet form. As we observed in the system, the programmed quantity is adjusted according to each cow's milk production. This method is considered innovative compared to other countries. In some compost barn systems, for example, cows go to milking without receiving concentrate and are only milked. However, here, it is almost mandatory to offer concentrate during milking, as this ensures that the cows remain calm and cooperative. We have already observed that when the concentrate runs out during milking, cows can become restless, move around, or even kick. Therefore, the concentrate not only helps attract them to the milking parlor, but also keeps them calmer during the process.
In the milking system, which is performed once in the morning and once in the afternoon, cows receive concentrate feed, serving as additional stimulation to guide them to the milking parlor. However, this can become a limitation in pasture-based systems, especially when we need to provide a high starch load during each milking. This process can lead cows to develop a condition of persistent clinical acidosis. Since the diet is pasture-based, the concentrate often contains more than 50% starch. This means that a cow can consume up to 2.5 kilograms of starch in just 5 to 6 minutes, the duration of the milking process. To address this problem, feeding lane systems have been introduced. These systems allow the distribution of starch in 3 or 4 portions throughout the day. This helps maintain a more stable rumen pH, promoting better milk solids production, improved herd health and longevity.
We must understand that dairy farming is a system where nutrition plays a fundamental role. We need to know it in depth, and the courses offered by Santa Fe Agro Instituto explain this in detail. They provide specific courses on feeding, covering topics from the basics to the most recent updates. Dr. Mike Hootjens' courses also explain feeding phases for different groups of animals very well. We try to implement these concepts on farms, understanding that feeding a freshly calved cow is completely different from feeding a cow at the end of gestation. The importance of nutritional transition, including the use of anionic concentrates and anionic salts, is also explained in detail in the courses. We should take advantage of these educational tools to make dairy production more efficient and profitable.